Okay, this video is for you all who were gone when we introduced the fall final exam documents and format. So the first thing you need to do is just save these up in a fall final exam folder. There's 4 documents here and then 1 link to the crash course review book, which I'll talk about potentially buying. But yeah, download these in one folder, create a subfolder for fall final exam, and put them in a file format that you can take a few notes in. And once you do that, then we'll talk through this, and you can jot down a few notes and just ask any questions if you have any after viewing this video and following the directions. So the first document is going to be the Fall Final Study Guide, and that looks like this here. You just need to know these eras in chronological order, in the order that we studied them. So for the chronology questions, there'll be like a list of individuals or a list of events, and then you'll just need to put them in order relative to each other. So it might be like Aquinas, Leonardo da Vinci, Christopher Columbus, Francis Bacon, Louis XVI. Okay, so then you just need to know these in order. They'll be like highly recognizable people or highly recognizable events, and you just need to know them in order relative to each other will be the key to doing well on the chronology sections of the test. So chronology is one piece you need to know. So, just study these in the order that we studied them and remember those. And then down below are some of the major themes that we studied from each unit of study. And it says here, as you engage in a detailed review of your study guides and notes, and I would mainly, almost maybe exclusively rely on your study guide, and I'll talk more about that in a second, from the semester. The following is a rough course outline for each unit to serve not as a comprehensive list, but a point of departure for the major themes we studied. Okay, so these are the major themes we studied, like very big, general, broad, big picture topics and themes. Okay, so I think these would be helpful, like just really generally. But what you really want to do is you want to look back at your study guides. And what you want to review out of your study guides is like the big details about the big people, the big events, the big dates, the big themes, and the big ideas. The fall final exam is going to be, there's going to be a lot of multiple choice questions. By and large, those multiple choice questions are going to be easier than unit test multiple choice questions. The unit test multiple choice questions can get quite kind of narrow and nitty gritty in terms of some of the differences and distinctions contained within the answer choices, and that's what creates some of the degree of difficulty in the unit test multiple choice questions. The fall final exam multiple choice questions are going to be different. They're going to be about big details, about the big people, the big themes, the big events, the big dates, the big ideas, etc. So they're not going to be as difficult of questions, like in terms of nitty gritty, really detailed distinctions and differences. The degree of difficulty in the fall final exam will just be that there's more content. But the questions will be relatively easier than the unit test multiple choice questions. The multiple choice questions on the final will be relatively easier. So really what you want to do, again, I think these would be helpful just to review and double check, but really what you want to do is just look back through your unit study guides and review and recall and comprehend the big details about the big people, dates, events, themes, ideas, etc. We're going to go for the big details about the big stuff on this test. So there'll be the chronology. Then you need to study your old unit test study guides, and then there'll be an essay question, and you'll need to prep that up. And I'm going to give you the essay question here in just a little bit. So the next document we're going to look at is the format document, and the format of the test is going to be some chronology. And again, you'll need to put these in order relative to each other. We'll practice these much closer to the exam. It's not going to do us that much good to practice these now. We will practice how to do these strategically later on. Then there'll be a grip of multiple choice questions, and then there'll be some bonus. There'll be like another chronology set that I'll use for bonus. So it'll be about 90, 95 items on the Scantron, and then the essay. So again, the three major things you need to put together are chronology, studying the unit test study guides, and then prepping up the essay. Again, the question, the prompt for the essay and the structure of the essay I'm going to give you here in just a second. So on to the essay, and I would definitely take some notes over here. The topic of the essay is secular humanism, and basically what the essay prompt asks is like, and it's an argumentative essay, so you need to pick a side in this debatable topic. But basically, it's like, what do you think about secular humanism, like in favor or opposed? Do you view secular humanism as a legitimate belief system or not? Basically, the prompt is like secular humanism, yay or nay. So you're either going to argue for it or you're going to argue against it, essentially is what the prompt is as a belief system. So again, it asks you to write an argumentative essay that's 5 paragraphs in length, and we're going to spell out the structure of the essay here down below. You want to start with some historical context of the time period, so in about 3 to 5 sentences using details. So you could talk about, you could introduce secular humanism and define it, I think would be good to do. You can talk about the 18th century Enlightenment and what that intellectual reform movement's all about. You could talk about 17th century scientific revolution and how it leads into the Enlightenment. You just need to give some context. You need to put us in a frame of reference here, given the topic being secular humanism. In the intro paragraph, you're going to start with this in the first 3 to 5 sentences, and then it asks you to state your thesis by choosing which side of the debate you ultimately fall on. The thesis should not be vague or restate the question. It should list 2 or 3 major specific topics on each side of the debate, and these specific reasons should be the basis of your body paragraphs and proven using specific detail in the body paragraphs. So basically what you're going to do for the thesis is you're not going to try to cram everything into one sentence. Do not make this a 3-pronged thesis. There's way too much going on. We're just going to go for 3 sentences instead. Don't try to slam everything in a 3-pronged thesis. Just break it up with periods, and then we can do a lot more. First sentence of the so again, the intro is going to start with 3 to 5 sentences of context, and then the last 3 sentences are going to be your thesis. So you need to list some specific topics in favor of secular humanism. These are going to be some of the major arguments. This is a debatable topic, so you're going to bring in both the pros and the cons. So list a couple topics that are used to argue against secular humanism. And then you're going to go in depth about those topics, but you just need to list some specific topics. And then you're going to go in depth about those specific topics in the body paragraph. And then you list some specific topics in favor of secular humanism in the second sentence. And then in the third sentence, you need to make it crystal clear which side you're going to argue for in the body paragraphs. Again, this is going to be your personal opinion. I'm not going to grade this based on which side you're selecting in the debatable topic, but I am going to grade this on are you bringing specific detail and evidence to bear on both sides, and are you coming up with a clear, defensible line of argumentation about which side is the superior side of the debate. Which side do you think has the better evidence in favor of it? The evidence in favor of secular humanism or the evidence opposed? So you're going to list a couple topics opposed here. Evidence that's opposed to secular humanism in the first sentence. Some evidence that's in favor of secular humanism. List a couple topics that you're going to talk about in the body paragraphs. And then in the third, you need to make it crystal clear. Do not use first person in this essay. This is a formal essay. So you just state your opinion as fact, and you make it crystal clear which side you're going to be arguing for, and then some initial, just a little bit as to why. And then you're going to go into that more in the body paragraphs. And then the body paragraphs are going to look like this. First body paragraph, you're going to be talking about specific evidence and detail that's arguments against secular humanism. Then second body paragraph, you're going to be talking about specific evidence and details in favor of secular humanism. And then third body paragraph, you're going to hit us with which side of the debate you think is the superior and why. Again, secular humanism, legit, illegit belief system, secular humanism, follow it, don't follow it, and why. This is where you need to come up with some lines of plausible argumentation. Here you just introduce that line of argumentation, but here you're obviously going to go in depth, as you're going to go in greater depth, obviously, in terms of your evidence and details, both against and for secular humanism. Support your main points in the thesis with a lot of supporting evidence and detail. Reference to specific people, their works, events, dates, terms, etc. should be used throughout. To write a top paper, you need to incorporate a line of argumentation regarding which side is superior and why. For the sake of our organization, this argumentation should comprise your third body paragraph. Okay. And this is the exact same structure we'll use on the AP test and the AP essays as well. So they just want evidence on one side, evidence on another side, and then a line of argumentation about which side is the superior side of the debatable historical topic and why. And then for the conclusion, don't introduce any new revelatory ideas. You just need to restate your thesis and just try to do a little bit better job than you did. Again, specific topics in against secular humanism, specific topics in favor of secular humanism that you discussed in the body paragraph. And then again, just restating your argumentation and just try to do a little bit better job of all three of these in the conclusion. You're just restating your thesis and trying to do a better job, be more specific. But again, this should only be 3 sentences. Okay, well, that's, there is one other thing I wanted to talk about. Let me see if I can find this here real quick. Okay, that's everything about the final. So obviously, if you have questions about the final, let me know. The only other thing I wanted to talk about was the schedule for the quarter. So this quarter, our first test was absolutism, constitutionalism. Our second test, scientific revolution and enlightenment. We just started up the French Revolution, and the French Revolution is going to be our last unit test of the quarter. French Revolution test is going to be all multiple choice mini test. We'll finish out quarter 2 in terms of our tests. After we complete our studies of the French Revolution around Thanksgiving, we are not going to have any additional nightly homework. Outside of class, it's just going to be all getting ready for the final. In class, we are going to start our next unit of study. We're going to be chipping away and working ahead on second semester. So after French Revolution in class, we are going to be starting up our studies of the Industrial Revolution, and we'll just study that till the end of the quarter, till before finals, and we'll just kind of chip away and get a head start on second semester. But the content contained within the final exam is going to stop after the French Revolution. This will be our last unit test. We're certainly not going to have a unit test on the Industrial Revolution before the end of the quarter and the end of the semester. We'll have that Industrial Revolution test will be our first test of the second semester. So again, we've got these tests here for second quarter. After we finish up our studies of the French Revolution, we're not going to have any additional nightly homework, but in class, we're just going to be chipping away at second semester by starting up some studies of the Industrial Revolution. Okay, again, if you have questions about that or anything else, let me know. Thanks.